Hey guys, welcome to How to Be Fancy. Today I'm excited to start a new series called Maisel Mondays, where we talk about all things hair, makeup, and style from the show The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Today we're going to be talking about the makeup looks, and I'm going to be sharing with you kind of a take on a late 1950s makeup look that would have been popular during the time and that also is reminiscent of the show itself. Patricia Reagan is the key makeup artist for the show, and she has done some of my other favorite films like Carol and the Amazon show Zelda. I loved the makeup in both of those film and television shows, so of course I love everything that happens in Maisel as well. This look is very feminine, very fresh, easy to do, not a lot of drama. It doesn't take a long time, so let's hop right on into it and I'll show you the look. The 1950s was this really great time when people were coming out of kind of the post-World War II make do and mend philosophy and into the swingin', very free mod 60s. So it's kind of that in between where there's a lot of room for play, there's a lot of room for experimentation, but at the same time, a lady must always be a lady. So Midge would have never appeared on camera without her face. So let's get started. For this look, you're gonna want just a really simple, clean skin and eye. There wasn't a lot of eyeshadow, no Insta glamour happening in this look. I'm going to go in with a Becca foundation. This is the Ultimate Coverage 24-hour foundation. I've got a little sample of this and I actually really like it because it tends to have a good amount of coverage, but also you kind of get that natural skin look. So I'm just gonna apply this. You can see where I have some redness always around my nose and cheeks, chin area. And I like to start my foundation in the center of my face, which is where I have the most pigmentation issues, and then blend it out softly so that it doesn't look like I have a mask on my skin. And I'm just using this IT Cosmetics. This is I don't know the name of this, the Complexion Perfection brush. It looks like this, and it works great if you kind of stipple your foundation. And you want to go in downward strokes. This keeps everything looking pretty and smooth. And this is just going to knock back a little bit of the pigmentation that I have in my skin. And a couple of the blemishes I have, we will sort out later with a little bit of concealer. I'm gonna go ahead and go in and do my eyebrows just to give my face a little bit of structure. I am using this Maybelline brow pencil. The cool thing about this is that on one end it has this little powder smudger, and so I'm gonna take a little bit of that powder first just to kind of give my eye an overall soft shape. The 50s didn't have a super structured eyebrow, just a really nice soft look to them, but they did have that nice arch that the 40s carried over. So I'm just running that through to put some color down on my skin. Then on the other end, there's this really cool little pencil. And I'm just gonna go through and kind of give mainly the underside of my brow a little bit of structure and not mess too much with the upper portion of my eyebrow. So just soft little strokes, no harsh lines on this, and then tapering off at the ends. You can fill in any little gaps that you have, and then even if you wanted to, you could take that little smudger again and just soften everything up. And then before I finish my complexion, I'm gonna move on into the eye area. And I'm actually just using the palette I had on hand, which happens to be the Kat Von D Saint and Center palette. It's gorgeous, it has a million different colors in it, but honestly today we're just gonna use 2 of those. I'm gonna take this little Eco Tools brush and go into the shade A Man, which is this kind of creamy colored white. And then I'm gonna take a little bit of Baptism as well. It's like kind of like a pinky white down here, and just mix those 2 together and brush that all over the moving part of my lid. I like to buff that right into the inner corner of my eye as well. Once you've got that on, I'm going into this kind of taupey shade. It's called Ashes. It's a little bit sparkly, but it doesn't translate too much to the eye, and I'm going to take that more on this little blending brush. This is by Wayne Goss, and I'm just going to run that into the crease of my eye, just really softly. We're not trying to create any kind of harsh lines at all, just to give our eye a little bit of definition, especially on this outer kind of V portion of the eye. We're gonna move on to eyeliner. We are looking for something that's a little bit more than what you would have found in the 1940s. So I'm gonna bring this all the way into my tear duct area and just slowly pull that out. So I like to do just small strokes close to my lash line to get me started, kind of start plotting that out. Then I just take the end here, and with the tip of my liner, I usually touch the side of my face, put the tip of my liner here, just at the corner of my eye. You can see I've kind of got a hooded eyelid, so I don't want to take this too far up or too far out to where it's gonna like sag underneath that. So I just want to follow this lower line here. And I just kind of tap it so that I know where I kind of want that little wing to go. And then I anchor my skin here on the side and slowly start to pull that out. And Midge was only 26 in this show, so she probably wouldn't have had to pull her skin quite so much, but I have about a decade on her, which means I've got to maneuver my skin a little bit. So again, I've got that slight cat eye, but not a full wing. And then I'm gonna come through the front of this and just kind of thicken it up to my liking, just a hair bit. And I like to thicken mine right here, kind of just at the center of my eyelid. Just makes your eyes a little bit more doe-eyed. Repeat on the other side. If you want to soften that line up a little bit, you can take an angled liner brush and go into any black matte shadow. I'm using Sabbath from that same palette, and just run it very gently along the edge of your liner. That just softens everything out. It's especially great if it's really hot and you're worried about your eyeliner smudging, or if you're a little bit older like I am and you have a few wrinkles on your eyelids. This will just kind of help smooth everything out miraculously. Next, I'm going to take an ivory eyeliner. This one is in the shade Linen by NYX. It's slightly pink, which I like, and run that just in my waterline. And this will really, again, help to open those eyes up a little bit. I'm going to take my L'Oreal Voluminous Feline Mascara and just give a very generous coat to my upper lashes. And I think it's hilarious in the scene where Midge is getting ready for bed, which is one of the most iconic scenes from that whole series, where she's putting on her nighttime makeup so that she can go lay in bed while Joel falls asleep, and then get up and take all of that off. She actually removes her eyelashes. So we know that she's been wearing eyelashes during the day. I think I've mentioned this before, because I wear glasses, I usually don't wear false eyelashes, but this is where you would put them on if you wanted to wear them. And I really like to build up the outer corner of the lashes, kind of twist your brush as you put it on, and then lightly fluff almost the inner corner of these lashes. And then I'm going to take just a little bit on the outer corner here. It's nothing major, just gives a little bit of definition to the eye. I'm going to take this Milk Makeup Concealer. I like this one because it's a really nice consistency, and I can use it both under my eyes, where I have some darkness here. I can also use it around my nose, where I have redness, and I can also use it on any blemishes I have. And I love concealers that can do it all. This is lightweight and flexible enough that it can do all of that and still have a nice coverage. Just gonna work that into my skin. And I'm using a shade that is actually my skin color. I don't want anything that's gonna create any sort of harsh contouring on my face, so not a lot of highlighting and contouring happening in 1950s makeup, at least that you could visually see. Anything that was done would have been done very, very subtly, and probably only by Marilyn Monroe's makeup artist, to be honest with you. everyday gal wasn't highlighting and contouring to the gods. And this concealer also has a really nice natural finish to it, so it's perfect for this look. And while I'm here, I'm gonna go ahead and powder my skin. This is actually a Jane Iredale foundation powder. And I'm just gonna use the same foundation brush that I used earlier to put this on. And I'm gonna take out most of the shine, especially through the center of my face. So again, using kind of that stippling motion, I'm just gonna pat a little bit of this on anywhere where I'd like to get rid of some shine. Not a lot of dewy, glowy skin in the 50s. Once I've managed that, I'm going to move on to blush. I'm going to use this one by Erin's Faces. This one is in the shade Rose, and I love that they went ahead and gave Rachel Brosnahan, or Midge in the series, some kind of rosy cheeks depending on what she was wearing. So anytime she was wearing more of her magenta gemstone colored looks, I noticed that she had some pretty rosy cheeks, so I'm going to do that today. I'm going to start it kind of low, right on my cheekbone, and fluff it out to where it looks a little bit more like a natural flush. So put it right here, start with the most color right here on the apples of my cheeks, and then swirl it up when I have less product on my brush. Going back with my foundation brush and blending out those edges just to make sure I don't have any harsh lines. One of my favorite parts of the show is when Midge goes to work for B. Altman at the makeup counter. It's very near and dear to my heart, so of course I loved watching her help customers pick out lipsticks. It's one of my favorite things to do. Now, when I was scoping out the makeup department head's Instagram earlier today, trying to see if she had any clues as to what might be on Midge's little pout, I happened to run across a picture of her in Paris. I think this is a season 2 hint, and she had quite a few YSL lipsticks laid out on the counter. I only have a couple of shades of these, but I do have one that I think is very Midge worthy. It's this rosy pink color, which would have been a very Midge color, I think, depending on, again, what she was wearing. A couple of other shades that I think would be perfect for this are Anastasia. This is in Catherine. This is the liquid lipstick. It's a really nice rosy pink. You could always do the tried and true Besame Portrait Pink, and if you happen to be feeling a red dress moment that Midge often felt in the show, you could always go with something like Maybelline Superstay Matte Ink. This one is in the shade Pioneer. It's one of my favorites. Now, this most likely would have been applied with a lip brush, but I don't have one handy, so I'm just going to pop it on my lips. I'm gonna take a Q-tip to kind of blend that out toward the edges of my lips. Take a tissue and blot it, and then reapply. The one thing you would have been deeply concerned about is whether your pout matched your polish, which mine does not. So perhaps you would match your pout to your handbag or to your top. There was a lot of matchy-matchiness happening in the 1950s, and you definitely see that influence throughout the entire Marvelous Mrs. Maisel series. Hope you guys enjoyed this look. Meet me back here next week. In the meantime, if you need more of me, you can find me at How to Be Fancy absolutely everywhere. Until next week, guys, I love you very much, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.